father or your husband goes on work, you'll be all alone in a home. But when you live in an apartment, you can easily visit your neighbor and have a chat with them. So these are the disadvantages of living in a house than an apartment.
Now the third question is, do you think that everyone would like to live Do you think that everyone would like to live in a large home? Why is that?
So no, I don't think that everyone will like to live in a large house, because it depends where they want to live. Like some of us like to live in apartments because they like to decorate their own apartment with not so many furnitures, and they like to live in a small places. And there are also some people who like to live in their own house. They feel that they have their own freedom. But in my opinion, I think that when you are paying enough for your apartment, or when it is not even your own apartment, that doesn't mean that you don't have freedom here, because if you are paying, that means that time the apartment is yours. So that's why people have different choices when it comes to choosing an apartment and a house.
Yeah. Now, the next topic would be finding a place to live. This is actually a part of three, not a separate part.
Okay.
The first question is, how easy is it to find a place to live in your country?
Bangladesh is a very populated country, and so that's why there are many buildings in my country. So in my country, people doesn't face so many problems to find an apartment or to rent. They can easily search, because they have in every apartment, when it gets when it is about to be rented, there we can see a leaflet called "To Let." So by this, people can know that they can find easily a place to live.
Okay. Now, the second question is, do you think it's better to rent or to buy a place to live in?
I think that it is way more better to rent a house rather than living in its own, because you can just do. I'm sorry. I mean that. It is way more better to live in your own house rather than renting an apartment, because when you rent an apartment, if you face some difficulties, like your an equipment in your house is broken and it's not working, when you tell the owner of the house, he may not be always sincere to repair them. But if you live in your own house, you can repair them at any time you want. And that living in your own house is a different feeling from living in an apartment that you have rented. So that's why I think that, in my opinion, I think living in your own house is way more better than living in a rented apartment.
Okay. Now the third and the last question is, do you agree that there is a right age for young adults to stop living with their parents? Why is that?
Okay, so in my country, there isn't any ritual or tradition that you have to get separated at a specific age from your parents. But if the children are old enough to live by their own, if they can earn money or work by their own selves, they can get separated from their parents. But in my country, there is a ritual that you shouldn't be separated from your parents or family. You should always take care of them. So people like to live with their family, but now the situation and the ritual, the tradition is changing. And so that's why we can see many adults are living without their parents. They are living in a separated apartment from their parents, but we can also see that children living with their parents, even when they become adults.
Okay. Now, with that, this test has come to an end, and I have to say you have done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.